climate change is complex. The science, the causes and consequences, and potential solutions all have a wide range of understanding. So, of course, it is no surprise that trying to transition to a more sustainable lifestyle is also very complex. Let's take a look at that sustainable transition today, Swarmers. Oh, wait. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, plus the little bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Your engagement really is so beyond appreciated. We can't honestly express it enough. Thank you for being here. So let's jump in. There are a number of different ways to measure sustainability. It's like when someone asks you, how big is your car? You could answer in a number of ways. 1,000 pounds, 600 cubic feet, 4-door V8, 6-seater, just to name a few. It's the same sort of idea when measuring sustainability. We could look at the energy used, size of the waste, water consumed, or the emissions produced. But the most common measurement used is the emissions, specifically carbon, that are produced. The number we use is an equivalent, meaning other gas emissions, like methane for example, are converted into an equivalent carbon amount. And while this has complexities in itself due to the differing lengths of time each gas stays in the atmosphere, we can still use this number to accurately compare what impact different goods and services have on our planet. So, how do we arrive at a value for the carbon emissions of products and services? We calculate the total emissions for the lifetime of a product or service, better known as a life cycle assessment, or LCA. Life cycle is a relative term when discussing LCAs, and it's important to understand the established boundary conditions of the assessment. The boundary condition encompasses everything that is being assessed. There are several reasons why the boundary condition would change, but generally it refers to the depth of the study by defining the start and end of the life cycle and outside variables or constants we input into the assessment. Within the boundary conditions, the data is obtained from real-time analysis or reliable sources, and that data is used to calculate the emissions. Depending on the depth of the study, the emissions are broken down into different segments to better understand the highest contributors. This is also what allows us to find the easiest ways to reduce the carbon footprint. Now, what the heck does all this science stuff have to do with us little people doing our best at home? We can actually use the same principle in our own lives to live more sustainably. We can set boundaries and focus on specific areas of our lives to determine where we can cut down the most emissions in a truly achievable way. Our boundary conditions are everything that we can control. For example, if you don't have access to a renewable energy provider, then keep that outside of your boundary and start instead by looking at how you use your energy. Or let's take a look at the need to replace items in your life. Short-term items like a toothbrush are replaced fairly easily. But what about a car? First, if you own an older car, don't put yourself into debt to upgrade to an electric. Try to use alternative transportation or carpool where possible. But if you do need to make a purchase, let's take a look at the best-selling sedan of 2016, the Toyota Camry, and debate whether we should upgrade to an electric vehicle. The average miles of US drivers last year was 8,600, accounting for a pandemic drop of 20%, which would equate to 15,738 pounds of CO2 emissions. Upgrading to the #1 electric vehicle, the Tesla Model 3, has emissions of 3,440 pounds of CO2 for the same distance. But we can't forget the emissions from manufacture and delivery of your brand new shiny car. That would be an average in the US of 63,300 pounds of CO2 divided by the lifetime of the car, current lifetime estimated at 8 years based on the expected battery life. Overall, the Tesla is 20% more efficient, but could you have reduced your emissions by carpooling, taking alternative transport, or walking to make up that difference? What about switching to renewable energy? If your current provider can supply you with cleaner energy at similar costs, it makes sense. The range of renewable energy emissions are currently less than 1% to 10% of the emissions from fossil fuel sources. That's a big difference. But if renewable sources are unavailable and you are unable to install your own renewable energy system, a boundary, then there are other ways to be mindful of emissions. For example, most of the energy used in your house comes from heating and cooling. The water heater emissions can be mitigated by taking shorter showers, washing clothes on a cold cycle, and ensuring dishwashers are completely full before use. In the kitchen, electrical appliances are more efficient than traditional gas burners and ovens. You can increase the efficiency of fridges and freezers by keeping them as full as possible and defrosting frozen food in the fridge. See how we can apply our very own assessments to our homes and lifestyles in order to pursue sustainable living in a way that genuinely works for us? Now remember that it's going to take some time and practice for living sustainably to feel natural. It's a skill like any other. So don't be afraid to use some training wheels on your journey, such as carbon offsetting. We've got a video on that if you need a brush up. But do try to remember that carbon offsetting is not a solution, but merely a stepping stone as you aim to reach your sustainability goals. You'll make mistakes along the way, you'll learn a great deal, and you'll do what you can to keep going strong. And that's always what matters. Thank you for joining us, as always, Swarmers. Hey, any questions, thoughts, suggestions? Drop them in the comments below. We absolutely love hearing from you. See you next time, friends. Much love.